What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports MLB Swing for the Fences show. I'm your host, Mangone. I'm here with Hoop. I'm here with JT Hayes. It's a nice little Friday. Excited to be here. We got Hoop. How's it going over there, man? How is your Friday going?
Yeah, it's going well. No complaints so far. Kids had a couple play dates. I got in a little Nerf gun battle, which is always exciting. It was a rainy day, so not much to do outside. So Nerf gun with the boys. No tears, so we're in good shape. Baseball slate, we got a full slate. It's a solid one. We have some pitching. We have some offenses. Those are always the most fun when you kind of can hit on both sides with some solid options. So looking forward to break it down with you. And more importantly, I mean, JT Hayes is here with us. And then, like I said, it's been a while for me and JT to collaborate on a show. So I'm excited to dig in with JT here today.
Yep, we got JT Hayes here. He is the man, the Eiffel Tower man. He is the man of the bang bang plays, right? If you checked out the video that was done here, on the Mayo's piece, he does a couple times a week. He also does the bang bang plays over here at Run Pure Sports on our YouTube channel. So like and subscribe so you can find out when JT does those bang bang plays. JT Hayes, how is it going over there on a nice little Friday?
Man, I'm titillated to be here with you guys. I couldn't be happier. I haven't been this excited, and I don't even know. You mentioned the videos, man. The Mayo group hit me up yesterday. They said, hey, we had someone that called out sick or something. I don't know. They had a reaction from their 7th dose of the vaccine. And I said, yeah, I'd love to hop in. So made a video at midnight, made another one just for our subscribers here, middle of the day, where I changed my mind a little bit. And now I get to talk to you guys. I mean, man, I feel like it's my birthday or something.
Yeah, Uncle T's excited to see. He says, damn, JT looks good. Uncle T, hand check, man. Pull those hands up because there's a lot going on there.
Speaking of Uncle T, I don't know if you guys caught the show yesterday. So, I mean, it was one of the first MLB shows that Uncle T has done, and we get to the end. And, obviously we go to the plays of the day. Everyone has their plays of the day, the names of their plays of the day. And, basically me and Big T at the same time said, yeah, it's clearly the mustache ride play of the day. Like, there's no other option. If Uncle T's on there, it has to be the mustache ride. He was trying to wiggle his way out of the play being called the mustache ride play of the day. Like, it's a no-brainer, right, boys?
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine wanting to wiggle your way out of that one? Like, all you need, and Simon, this is the graphic you need. You need Uncle T on a roller coaster, right? With a lady right next to him, hands in the air, right? With the mustache. I think that'd be the perfect kind of graphic. Of course, we could do some funnier ones, right? But I think that's the kid-friendly one, right? We won't get banned off the YouTube for that, right, JT?
And more importantly, the play hit, too. We had Will Smith, and Will Smith got it done. So, I mean, mustache ride is here to stay.
By the way, Will Smith was on that slate on FanDuel, 6% owned in tournaments, right? 6% for Will Smith. Again, I love playing those catchers, so that was a good time. JT, are you down for the Uncle T mustache ride play of the day?
Yeah, I mean, Uncle T needs the name of his play, right? I mean, it's got to be something. That's a fine one. The mustache play of the J, the Jake Rogers doppelganger play of the day, something like that. But yeah, I mean, kudos, because Will Smith was one of the only guys who scored on that goddamn slate. It was all pitching and no offense. And what else do you expect from Uncle T? Just bringing winners, bringing positive contributions, and more importantly, sweet Travis, good mojo.
Yeah, you got to love the good mojo, right? Spreading that in the chat. And listen, it was definitely a rough slate for the hitters yesterday. The pitchers definitely crushed. But, hey, we got another slate today, and I think we have a mixed bag of, some good pitchers, some good hitters. So I'm excited to break it all down with you guys. Again, a lot of stuff to hear, like over at Run Pure Sports. Hoop, what's the code right now? We're doing RPS Heater 25. Is that the code that we got going on right now?
Yeah, RPS Heater 25 is the code. We're gonna have something. New next week as well. But right now it's RPS Heater 25. Gets you 25% off your first monthly payment at Run Pure Sports. So it has to be a monthly package. And like I always talk about, I mean, it includes every sport that we offer, and we cover every single sport. So it's a good deal. That's a little bit different than the competitors, where every time a new sport starts, they're gonna charge you a little bit more. We got football in, I don't know, 6-7 weeks. And a majority of these sites, if you're a member over there, they're going to say, all right, now you owe me $350, $400 for NFL season. NBA will be starting in October. You're going to owe me another $350 here. We never do that. It's just one price across the board. Nice and simple, and, the best bargain in the industry for sure.
Yep. So check all that. We got MMA content, right? I'm sure there'll be some MMA this weekend. NASCAR, we got it all over here at Run Pure Sports. Got all the baseball that you guys need. JT will be giving you his core plays, right? JT, are you on the write-ups today as well?
Yeah. I've got a write-up that I'll be doing right after this show. I'll have a core lineup out there. But I got a question first, because we've been talking for a couple of minutes and something just occurred to me, and I hope this isn't the case, but Mangone, are you in the kitchen where Chris Hansen's going to show up in like 30 minutes and tell you that he needs to have a chat with you? And why do you have Zimas and colored children's condoms? I mean, I hope that doesn't happen during the show. Maybe we could schedule that for later.
No, I don't think Chris Hansen will be showing up. It is an interesting kitchen going on here for sure. A lot going on in this kitchen. I don't know if the magnets are up with the alligators and the crabs, right? It's your classic Jersey Shore kind of kitchen, JT. So
it looks primed if you're trying to lure in a 14-year-old girl. So I don't know. I mean, maybe we won't see him. I hope not.
You got Capri Suns in that refrigerator behind you, and flavor ices in the freezer portion.
No, I do have the Truly ice pops downstairs, right? I got like 3 more of those. Those are good alcoholic pops. I don't know what else is. I've got some. Let's see what we got in here. We got some Coca-Cola, some beer, some wine.
Nice.
Good stuff. So not too bad over here, JT. Having a good time at the Jersey Shore, enjoying myself. Do you still have your guitar? I was told by you, JT Hayes, you were going to have some song written up for us by the end of baseball season, and we're getting towards the end of baseball here, JT.
Yeah, I got to work on it. I got to learn how to play it first. So I'll have to go through maybe some type of quick crash session there. Maybe write a song about you guys, write a song about Discord, some of our favorite subs. I can tell you who won't be in it, but we'll see. We got to figure that out. We got a couple of months.
All right. Well, let's dive in. We'll start talking about some baseball here. Hoop, I'll go to you first, right? What's your overall takeaway? It's a Friday, right? So we don't have one of these shorter slates. It's definitely a bigger one. Maybe we don't have to talk about all the ownership. I know yesterday Tony was talking about it a little bit, which I kind of agreed. Like, it's one of those days where you could really find a cheap offense out of nowhere, or not cheap, a lower ownership offense, and maybe that would be the difference, because we didn't think there'd be a lot of runs, but today there should be enough runs on this slate. So what's your overall breakdown on this one?
Yeah, I mean, my overall thoughts here on the slate, starting at pitching is I think I want to be in this upper tier of pitcher, and I think it's easy to get up here. We're going to have cheap guys. There's already a few, full punts on the slate that we can play in order to pay up a pitcher. The reason I want to be up at pitcher are, we talked about it a lot when DC was on the shows, the sticky stuff, the spin rate things, and all that. Well, it seems like these guys have found a way around it. I don't know if they're found a different substance or whatever it may be, but these guys that struggled those, 2 or 3 starts have kind of turned the corner again. Specifically, Garrett Cole back to being his dominant self. Giolito was another one of the guys that was having some issues. He's, been phenomenal in his last 2 starts, 25, 39 fantasy points. So my goal tonight will most likely be to be up at the pitcher position, to spend up there. And there's a lot of offenses that are in pretty good spots too. So this has, this slate is nice in the fact that we have pitchers that we can feel pretty good about, and also offenses that we feel good about, and cheap hitters that we feel good about. So you have a little bit of everything that you want when you're building your lineups.
All right, JT, how about you? I know you're going to give your slate breakdown, right, once you kind of dive in more. I'm sure the Discord chat, there's been tons of pitchers talked about. Maybe you've laughed at a couple options. So I know you like to have a good time sometimes with the chat when they suggest some things. But what's your overall takeaway on this slate? Again, it's a Friday, right? So there's so many bats, so many pitchers, so many different ways to go.
Yeah, I tend to mostly agree with Hoop that I think there's some options there in the top tier. And it's not so much an ownership play. I'm just looking at different patterns in terms of how guys have been recently, who they've faced. And I said it in one of the videos today, right? It's daily fantasy sports. If it was as simple as, Garrett Cole has a 38% strikeout rate, let's pitch him every time, then that would be pretty simple. He has dominated this Red Sox team at times. He has gotten hit a little bit by this Red Sox team at times. And the one thing I'll say about Yankees pitchers right now is the way that team is dealing with injuries, the pitchers have to be almost perfect. And Garrett Cole has been that 2 games in a row, dominated the Astros, dominated the Red Sox at home. But we saw last night, right? The way that game slipped away. They had Tyler Wade playing third base. He makes an error, opens the floodgates there. So I'm taking a little bit of a different look at pitching today, but I agree that I think there's some guys in the top end to use. I also think there's a couple of guys in the lower end to use as well. We have some of these teams that are beginning to sell off. We have some of these teams who are dealing with significant injuries that have really created an opportunity for opposing pitchers. So it's an interesting slate. And then from an offensive perspective, I think there's some clear spots where teams, the usual suspects, are priced up against subpar pitching. And then I think there's some under the radar spots where we get teams that are, have been better going against some really mediocre pitching, some really mediocre bullpens. So it's an interesting slate for sure.
All right, we got 307 watch. We only got 92 likes, so let's get those likes up, guys. We'll get people filing in, then we'll eventually ask Coop what the number should be, and then he's going to maybe hold back the plays. Maybe I'll hold back the plays. We won't get the Eiffel Tower, and we'll want to get that. So get those likes up so we don't have to worry about it and ask at all. JT, I'm going to go right back to you because you talked about Garrett Cole, right? He's had his, opportunities against the Red Sox, and he's done well. And at times, he can struggle. We don't know he's a sticky substance kind of guy too. I know Big T has been on Twitter saying, "Oh, the sticky substance doesn't matter for Garrett Cole. He's been getting it done, and he has been better." Zach Wheeler's on the slate too, and this Atlanta offense, you know them pretty well. They're not as good, obviously, without Acuna, right? So, what are you doing here at the top at pitcher? Is it Wheeler? Is it Cole? Or is it someone else?
Yeah, I think as of right now, I think I'm leaning towards Wheeler over Cole. And the reason why is the Red Sox team has been hot. Yes, they did just see him, and he did pitch well against them in the Bronx just a week ago. This Atlanta team, right? They're not just missing Ronald Acuna. They've been without Marcell Ozuna. The replacements for these guys, Jock Peterson is fine. Jock Peterson is great against right-handed pitching. Zach Wheeler's been on a different level this year, kind of a letdown game his last start out against the Marlins. So I do look for him to bounce back here. And then you've got an interesting matchup where you've got a Chicago White Sox team in Milwaukee. I don't think a lot of people are going to want to play Freddie Peralta because of the White Sox, but Peralta's been, close to a 40% strikeout rate on the season. He is priced appropriately at 9.9. I think he can easily have an opportunity to be the top scorer on this slate, as does Lucas Giolito. So I think if you're multi-entering, obviously you're going to consider all four of those guys. And right now I'm tending to look a little bit lower on Garrett Cole than I am the other three as of this moment. It's just, like I said, feeling that these guys aren't going to have the same performance every time out. And I think it might be a situation where Garrett Cole is not quite as perfect as he needs to be here. Doesn't mean I want to go all in on the Red Sox, but it means that I think these other guys may be in just slightly better spots.
All right, Hoop, I'll go over to you. And then let's talk about the 9K range and above, right? Like Tyler McGill, he shouldn't be in that range, and it's the Blue Jays. It's a terrible idea. Don't do it. But there's a bunch of other guys, right? Tyler Mahle, I know you definitely like the roster a bit because you like the strikeouts just like me. And he's a guy that he's a Mr. First or Last kind of guy. He will get the strikeouts in bunches, but sometimes he can get hit up, and it isn't a tougher ballpark, right? Against St. Louis, though, and we know St. Louis, we're not that scared of them. We got Giolito, who has been one of those sticky stuff guys, gets Milwaukee, though. I'm not too scared of Milwaukee. Wheeler against Atlanta, we talked about that. Peralta against the White Sox, which Peralta has good stuff, but the White Sox have been hitting a little better. And then Cole. So there are guys to roster here above 9K. Which are some of your favorites?
Yeah, before I hop into that, just wanted to wish our boy Brandon McNair a happy birthday. So good mojo for the birthday at midnight, hoping to be blacked out, getting a takedown, running pier. Hey, I hope your dreams come true tonight. We'll be pulling for you. In terms of this top tier, I think my ideal pairing would be Cole and Wheeler if I could just play both of them. And, I think it's relatively easy to do that. We have some really cheap hitters that we're going to talk about here throughout the show. So if you want to go that route, I think you can do it. I don't think you have to, but, I'm kind of just looking at two of these guys, playing two of these guys in my lineups. Cole, Wheeler, Giolito are probably my three favorites in tournaments. Maybe, a little more Peralta. I think he comes in a little bit lower owned because of the matchup, and he just hasn't been as dominant as those other guys. So really, those are like my three favorites, kind of leaning towards the Cole Wheeler combo right now as my favorite. And honestly, most of my lineups, I do want to be up here. I feel really good about these guys tonight. I think they have way more upside than some of these cheaper options, and we have the cheap hitters to kind of make it all work. So Ideally, I'm getting two of these guys up top at the pitcher position.
All right. Well, you're talking about the guys up top. Let me stay with you because there's a couple of guys that are right below 9K that we should definitely talk about, right? We should talk about Frankie Montas. We saw what Chum and I did to Seattle, and Seattle's terrible, and they got that nice humidor in there, so I think that helps him. I'm not a huge Jake Odorizzi guy, but I do like targeting Texas, right? So it does make some sense, but I think there's better options. I'd rather go to Montas, right? I'd rather go to Musgrove against Miami. Miami's not very good, so those are pretty good options to go to. And Eduardo Rodriguez, we saw not too long ago, Eduardo Rodriguez, I think it was the first time out that the Yankees had that terrible lineup. He dropped 30 fantasy points in 5.2 innings, right? Imagine if he gets a little cleaner, right, and goes 7 innings. He has a ceiling that could even be higher than 30. So there are guys that I think you can roster here. Hoop, what are you doing with some of these 8K guys? Are you mixing them also in that pool of pitchers you just discussed?
So with Eduardo Rodriguez, it's going to be dependent on the Yankees lineup, which I have not seen yet. If they keep rolling out one of these shitty lineups, I'm definitely going to be interested in Rodriguez tonight. The lefty-lefty matchup with Odor is definitely in his favor. Takes away one of their better bats, right? I mean, the lineup they've been rolling out has not been very impressive. So if it continues to look like it's been, yes, JSURab will be added to the list for me. Musgrove, I get it. The matchup's good, so I just can't do it. Like, he's been so bad in like 3 out of his last 4 starts, and even the one that was good was just decent. So I'll be off Musgrove. Feel much better about Rodriguez and even Montas for that matter. I could definitely get behind Montas at 8-7. The problem I have with him, he's just so close to those guys in the upper tier that I feel so much better about. Where I only need $1,000 more to get up to Wheeler or Giolito and even Garrett Cole. So. Probably, my favorite here will most likely be Eduardo Rodriguez, because I suspect the Yankees will continue to have a pretty weak lineup tonight.
All right, JT, let's go back to you. Eduardo Rodriguez, Hoop talked about it. I talked about it. Let me know what you're doing with him, because we know how bad that Yankees lineup is. And like Musgrove and Montas, I think they're in the conversation too. It feels like a great day that like maybe I would make my pitcher pool just guys only above 8K. Obviously, you want to get in some bats though, so we'll talk about that as we keep going down. But what are you doing with those guys in that 8K range?
Yeah, the Yankees lineup looks like it just came out a little bit ago. And yeah, I mean, 6 through 9 is Gardner, Gittins, Lamar, and Greg Allen. I mean, you got Odor in the 3-hole. I mean, it's just not an impressive lineup at all once you get past really Gary Sanchez, because Gleiber started to hit a little bit. That does concern me just a little bit here. But they've got a low run total. Erod's 8.3. He's been pitching much better of late. I get that Joe Musgrove has been not nearly as good as he was. Like the first 3 starts of the season, he looked like he was going to be one of these top tier guys, and then he fell off just completely. But you would have said the same thing again about Blake Snell last night. And Snell dominated these Marlins because they're just like a couple of these other teams here where they're just missing so many players. That being said, I think the point too that Hoop brings up is a good one. Why am I going to pay 8-4 for Musgrove or 8-7, I think it is, for Cobb and Montas, guys like that, when I can just simply punt one hitter? That's all it takes. And to be honest, the offenses that I think are good options for 5-man stacks tonight are not just the offenses that have 6K guys. I think there's a couple of offenses that I've talked about today that have a bunch of cheap guys. You punt 2 positions, you can easily get up to a 9.5 plus pitcher pairing today. So there's one guy that you didn't mention that is a guy that if I wanted to full stack the Dodgers or I wanted to full stack the Astros, I probably won't be full stacking the Jays, but I think there's a perfect 3-man there in that matchup, is David Price. David Price, again, he's a guy who just hasn't been good in a very long time, but this is matchup based at this time of season. And in this season in particular, he gets the Rockies. Rockies win almost every game at home. They lose almost every game on the road. They have been, outside of Texas, I think one of the most putrid offenses outside of their home park. And he got to 4 innings and 4 Ks, nearly 20 fantasy points in Colorado last week. David Price did. Now he gets a matchup where the win should be easily in play. The Dodgers are going against Chichi Gonzalez. So I think if you were going to pay down, that's one of the spots that I would look at. Again, do I want more than 15% of that in my lineups? No, absolutely not. But I think he's a guy you can go to. And I It depends. If he's popular, maybe I shy away from it.
All right, JT, I got a couple of questions for you. So what do you think? You talked about David Price. What do you think of the Rockies lineup? It just came out. It's Tapia, it's Rogers, Story, Blackman, Crone, McMahon, Diaz, Hampson, and Gonzalez. So it is a little bit of a better Rockies lineup than normal, but they are pretty bad on the road.
It's two things. One, they just have such a home field advantage. These players, I think, are, for whatever reason, they're accustomed to playing in Coors. But it's the same reason why I went very overweight on Sean Manaea last night, right? That first game out of Coors is different for these guys. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but you see this when teams come out of Coors. It takes them another day or so to adjust to being at regular altitude levels. For the Rockies in particular, they're normally so bad away from Coors. It doesn't matter if it's the first game or the last game, this being their first game. And the Dodgers need to win games. Now, the flip side of this, you could say, well, the Dodgers just come out of a series against the Giants. That's a big rivalry series, but they lost, I think it was 2 or 3 or 3 or 4 in that series, and a bad one last night in particular. So I worry about Dave Roberts over managing. That's the issue here with this Dodgers lineup, is that Muncy's going to be out. So that's just one more guy that might get pinch hit, whoever fills that slot in the middle of the game. But man, Chichi Gonzalez is easily the worst pitcher on this slate. So I'm not interested in the Rockies at all.
All right. One more thing I want to say to you, JT, and then we'll go over to Hoop. So one of our guys in the chat, Free Gaming, said, I played Cruz the other night and they benched him before they traded. Well, if you're watching the Up to Lock show, right, or in the Discord, you would have been notified, right? So JT, what are some other reasons why they should get in the Discord chat?
I mean, first of all, I said this, right? I mean, we're talking about, most of us pop in there somewhere around midday. Some of us that take the guys that are doing content like myself several days a week, right? I'm taking a look at the slate almost as soon as I get up in the morning, sometimes the night before. And we pop in there. I've seen you pop in there. Hoop will jump in there. JSU, BigT, AP, Draft Sheet, right? And Gary, Gary's in there quite a bit. Gary's kind of the Discord moderator, and he's in there talking about plays from early in the morning. I jumped in there yesterday afternoon after looking at the slate and pricing, and I said, look, I get it's a scary matchup, but I think this is one of those random Andrew Heaney ceiling games. And I didn't actually get laughed at, which I expected to, but nobody laughed at me. And then it just became easier because Garver went on the paternity list. And then half an hour before lock, they ruled out, they traded Nelly Cruz. So you had an opportunity midday to start thinking about, do I really want to roster a Twins team that's going to be, heavily rostered across the industry because of this natural ability that they have to bust in those situations. And the fact that some of us were on the opposing pitcher. And then there were updates by everyone in that Discord as soon as he got traded. So you easily would have known about an hour before lock. And a lot of guys did. Jumped off the Twins, jumped on the Heaney. I think half of his somewhere between 12 to 16% ownership had to be RPS last night.
I was with you, but I went a step further and got made fun of, actually. You said you feared that you would be made fun of. I got made fun of by Big T and Uncle T, but this was before the Nelson Cruz thing, so I get it a little bit. But I mentioned his name on the show yesterday, and those guys, they kind of took it to me. So I wish I had you in my corner yesterday. I needed some defense.
I had 44% Heaney last night.
Yeah, I was in your corner. I messaged JT about it, and I set it up in the Up to Lock show. I said, listen, if people are playing Minnesota, let's just play Heaney for leverage, especially if we want to play some of these better offenses. And another reason to be in the Discord chat, JT, man, I have been talking about how I haven't broke a GIF in the chat in months. And I just broke one posting to try and spread some good GIF mojo. But I saved it by posting another GIF of the bad mojo, right? Me on the train. I don't know if you've seen that GIF, JT, but you got to be in the golf chat, right? Sweating out the golf winners this week, sweating out the cut line. It's good times. I got Hermine. He is out there saying that it's not good mojo. Everyone's getting on me right now. So it's good times in the chat, JT.
I gotta tell you, I gotta get in there and check out that GIF. But I just, one of the funniest things, I don't know. I love some of the comments we get on the YouTube show in the YouTube chat. And this is one that just makes me smile. It's Millie Oswin 20, right? So obviously an alias, Millie Oswin 20, talking down David Price. Never trust him. Price will probably get hurt in the second inning. All possibilities, right? I don't think he's only going 2 innings because the Dodgers, number one, don't trust their bullpen, or at least he shouldn't trust his bullpen, and they're stretching him out. So, but then after saying all this about David Price, who at one point was a dominant major league pitcher, says that Slick Willie Peralta is going to dominate the Royals over 7 innings. So Millie Osmond 20, good luck to you tonight. I hope it works out.
All right, Hoop, I'll go to you. And again, right on cue, Doug Gim strikes the ball 4 yards from the hole. Hoop, are you sweating the PGA? And you're seeing the Dustin Johnson meltdown right now. It's not looking good, I hear. It sounds like the Discord is going nuts about it.
Yeah, the Dustin Johnson thing's not good because I played a shit ton of Dustin Johnson. So that part tilts me. But yes, I do need Gim. Gim is a key member of my squads this week.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Well, he's got plenty of holes. Let's get in the Discord chat, spread the good mojo. That's what we try to do over here at Run Beer Sports, and spread that good mojo by hitting that like. Hoop, we're at 406 likes. Before we kind of go in and talk about the cheap pitchers, 406 watching, 149 likes. What do we want to make the number at?
Yeah, I mean, just 50%. So I mean, let's get this thing up to 200, and Eiffel Tower play, Forex play, and what's the name of yours, man, going?
Title wouldn't take the dry hump, Hoop, so I took one for the team, right?
Okay.
Maybe organically I'll find a better one along the way, but because Title wouldn't take it, right? You tried to give it to him, and he decided to do his SO play, right?
Yeah, he switched that. That was bullshit. He just took that and he kind of just switched that out of nowhere. He'd come on, he's like, now it's the SO. I was like, what the hell is SO play? Like, no, like you're the dry hump.
Yeah, not sure about that, but I kind of like the Chris Hansen's kitchen play of the day. I mean, I think
that sounds good too.
I think the Chris Hansen's kitchen play of the day is certainly something that should be able to take down tonight.
You can get the sweet. You can add the sweet Travis. Add some candy in there.
Sweet Travis is Chris Hansen's kitchen play of the day. You get all of the bad mojo in there, but that's fine. That's fine.
JT, I'm a man of many hats, right? I'm a man of the cash chart. Now I'm Mojo Man going. We can always change the play every 3 months, change up the brand. I'm fine with that. So let's get those likes up. We'll get those plays in for you guys. Hoop, I want to go back to you. You definitely like the paint on a pitcher when you don't like the pitching. I know today you don't. Are you Xing them all off? And let's say you are Xing them all off. Who are the guys that you would look at for cheap if you had to play someone cheap?
Yeah, I got a couple. I agree with the David Price thing. A little bit of interest there. 6.3K. Colorado just terrible when they're outside of Coors, like JT said. The last name I do want to bring up, not a comfortable play, but 6.1K. JSURab. I mean, he's nothing special, but the Angels lineup not looking very strong. Let's see, where is that at? It's a weak lineup overall. Fletcher, Goslin, Jose Iglesias in the first 3 spots. They do have Upton, then Suzuki, Marsh, Lagares. It's a weak lineup overall. I think you can go out there and survive and get us, 17, 18 fantasy points. So JSURab's the last guy that I'm kind of looking at, 6.1K, close to like a full punt.
Hoop, I know one of the reasons why I liked Heaney last night or yesterday was because when I saw the price, it just kind of jumped out to me. And I think you look at things in the same way a lot with some of these guys. You see a guy at a certain, I think he went for 24 or something a couple of starts ago when he was down at 5'7". And you see him at 6'1", and I say, you kind of have to throw the season-long numbers out the window, recognize that these guys are major league pitchers, and let's be honest here. JSURab is probably auditioning for an opportunity to pitch for a contender and another, maybe his last, chance to get into the postseason.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with you. It's all the way down, and it's not like – I mean, he's showing some upside. I mean, he's been over 22, 23 fantasy points in 2 out of his last 4 starts. So, I mean, there is still something there. And like you said, he's clearly incentivized. This team's trading everyone away. At 6.1K, I'm definitely willing to, keep him in my player pool tonight.
All right. Well, I'm going to go back to JT because JT, I don't expect Hoop to mention this play, right? But I mean, you haven't talked about Mr. Revenge, Steven Matz, right? I mean, it's a revenge game. I know you love some revenge, JT. So why have you mentioned the Steven Matz revenge game today?
Yeah, listen, he's another guy that you look at his price, and I think just a couple of starts ago, he was somewhere almost in the 9K range. The Mets are healthy. That's the negative for Steven Matz, right? The positive is, the park is just dreadful for hitters. 7-1's a fine price. I don't know if he makes my cut. I'm not gonna have 10 pitchers in my pool tonight. I do think that the Jays will have some success against Tyler McGill, and then I think they'll have a little bit more success against this Mets bullpen. So I don't hate the play. I just don't know if I'm going to get there myself because, right, we talked about David Price might be in play. I think the David Price matchup against the Rockies is quite a bit better than the matchup against the Mets. And we talked about, Hoop just brought up JSURab, and I think his matchup against a watered down Angels lineup that, I mean, it's what do you expect? I like Justin Upton out of that lineup as a one-off, but really the rest of it, I'm not all that enamored with. So do I need all of these lower price pitchers? I mean, last night was the same way, right? I think you saw there were 8 or 9 pitchers based on price and matchup that you could consider. And I ended up using 5 or 6 of those, right? I think tonight, a 14-game slate, you're going to see there's probably going to be maybe between 8 and 10 pitchers that will go north of 20 fantasy points, right? I'm trying to hone that down to the guys that I think are going to be either one, get to between 3 and 4x per dollar or more, or get me into that range that Sean Manaea got into last night, the upper 30 range.
All right, Hoop, I'll go back to you. Give me your pitcher rankings. But before you do that, I mean, just like JT Hayes, he says Mr. Damian Lillard and the names, right? Mr. Steven Matz, right? I mean, you love hearing his pronunciations. Is that the first time you've ever heard him called not Steven Matz, Steven Matz? I hope you're muted.
I mean, the way JT pronounces it is the right way. So it's Matz. I mean, there's just like he has inside information. It's not like he's just making this stuff up. Like he goes to the family members and the family tree and researches this stuff. So
can you imagine? Can you imagine Hoop not knowing that Steven Matz's great grandfather was the founder of the Mott's applesauce business? Can you imagine not knowing that?
It's wild.
And just humiliating yourself by saying it publicly in a free YouTube Discord that you have nothing else better to do than to come into the free YouTube Discord and challenge our pronunciation when we're trying to make you money.
All right, real quick, before we get Hoop's rankings, we gotta address something in the chat. I know this is a JT thing to do, right? So that's why I gotta go to you, JT, real quick. Millie is saying Willie Peralta, right? 7 innings, 6 Ks, 1 run last start. JT, just because it happened last start doesn't mean it's happening this start. So tell him either if you play him or not to play him, but I feel like you're not on Peralta today.
I will do this for Millie Oswin 20 because I've got a soft spot in my heart for people who are bored, right? People who don't have the opportunities to stay busy and make money that everybody else does. Millie, go read the book Living on the Black by John Feinstein. It's a fantastic episode. It's a fantastic book. Takes you through a season of 2 pitchers, and it's Mike Messina and Tom Glavine at the end of their career. And it's not just eye-opening from the aspect of what does a Major League Baseball pitcher go through, right? Because it's not easy to get up and throw a baseball at high speeds, right? Every 5 days. But it also, you get a little bit of the insight of, hey, they don't feel the same every start. Things don't roll off the fingers the same way every start. The fielders don't react the same way every start. And they don't perform to the same level every start. Go read that book. Come back and tell me what you think.
Yep, and of course we got the people, right? It's Wiley, it's Willie. Who cares what his name is? He sucks. He doesn't deserve a good name. Hoop, I know you're not playing any Peralta. Give the people the pitcher rankings, what they want to get in the cash games and tournaments.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, my preferred pairing would be like Cole Wheeler. I don't think it's a must, but like, so Cole, Wheeler, Giolito are my guys at the top. Eduardo Rodriguez, assuming the Yankees, their lineup, it's not very good. So Eduardo Rodriguez would be in there. And then, some guys for tournaments, David Price and like I said, JSURab. So I'll probably play about maybe 6 pitchers tonight, maybe 7. Those are, the key guys out there for me.
All right, JT, we'll go over to you. Who are the guys that you are attacking here at the pitcher position?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Wheeler and Peralta more so than Cole for me. I'm not saying I'm going to completely fade him, but it's call it more a feeling, call it more I think there's enough things that can go wrong in this start to put him just a little bit lower than those other guys. And then I think we talked about Price, talked about certainly a little bit of JSURab, and then we didn't talk about Alex Cobb. And, I think with him and Montes, the issue is really just being able to get up more to the higher range. So I think the construction for me is either 2 in the 9-10K range or one of those guys and one of the maybe 7K and below. And we'll probably include a little bit of Motts in my player pool, not because of revenge, but he does get 4 lefties, as K. Fallick, another one of our fantastic contributors, is pointing out in chat here. Gets 4 lefties, gets that ballpark, and I think I'm pretty confident that the Blue Jays get a win here.
All right. We got our boy Steve Anthony in chat. JT, he says, one more great reason to not be, or to get in the Discord, right? You don't even need to be vaxxed. I'm not going to go there. Never mind. We won't discuss that subject. You know, we will discuss the things that you need to do. You need to check out our best ball content over here at Run Pure Sports. We have a new video that launched today with Snyder, with Bobby Gomes. We got it with Simon as well, our producer. They broke down some of the injury stuff that went on. We have all the NFL stuff you need. I saw in the Discord chat, they were talking some NFL, a little bit of best ball. So be sure to check all that out. We got all the best ball content that you need. So don't miss out on that. Let's move on though. Let's talk about the hitters. Let's talk about the catcher position. And Hoop, I'll go over to you. Is this a day to spend up? Is this a day to spend down? It's a big slate. What are you doing here at catcher?
Yeah, I mean, the way it's shaping up now with the lineups we have, it's probably a mid-tier, most likely, middle-ish tier, maybe save some money. I mean, there's nothing really that stands out as a spend outside of Will Smith for me. He's 5.1K. He's obtainable. I mean, you can definitely play him if you want to spend. But some of the guys I'm really looking at specifically for cash games would be like Tyler Stevenson, batting third, 4.1K. And then, you know, we talked about J.A. Happ and liking him, but Kirk Suzuki is 3K, batting fifth. You know, with J.A. Happ, it's one of those situations. Yeah, I'm fine playing my pitcher, but I also don't mind some of these Angels bats because they're so damn cheap. So Suzuki at 3K is in the conversation for me. A full punt would be Jonah Heim, batting fifth for the Rangers. He is the stone minimum at 2K. Maybe Gary Sanchez in tournaments. I mean, we'd like Eduardo Rodriguez. There's not a ton of upside at this position today. So, you know, Gary Sanchez should be low owned because people will be playing Erod. So I don't hate him in tournaments at 4.3K. But, you know, the guys that I'm really looking at would be like Suzuki and Tyler Stevenson.
All right. How about you, JT? Are you going over to maybe, Eric Haas, right, against Bubik, right? We know that he has some power at the catcher position. Tyler Stevenson, too, in that nice little ballpark. Who is the catcher that you are looking at on this slate?
Yeah, Eric Haas is a guy that I like. I guess you could call it up top. He is 4-5, gets a great matchup against Bubik and against the Kansas City bullpen. 9-mile-an-hour wind, which is moderate wind. Blowing out of Kaufman, it's 90 degrees. We've seen this park play a little smaller in these hot temperatures. It's another reason to be concerned about Wiley Peralta, whatever you want to call him. Agree with Tyler Stevenson. And then I do like the Orioles a bit against Patrick Corbin. This is a team that, I mean, the team total is 5. You don't see them with a team total like that. It's a team that has been top 5 in ISO and weighted runs creation against left-handed pitching all season long. Pedro Severino, in a bad slump the first month and a half of the season, has actually started to hit the ball. He, like almost all of the rest of these Baltimore Orioles, are under 3K, 2.8 for Pedro Severino. Uncle T's guy, Will Smith, if he cracks the lineup, and I expect he will here tonight against Chichi Gonzalez, you got to like him quite a bit there as well.
All right, Hoop, I got the people in chat saying, it's 40 minutes into the show and LT's going game by game. Like, I mean, we're too far into the show to switch to game by game. Did I miss something yesterday where you guys, I know you did game by game a little yesterday. Is that the new thing to do, Hoop, or what happened there yesterday?
No, I mean, there's, it truly seems like a 50-50 split amongst the chat in terms of the format that they prefer. And I know, Big T and myself definitely prefer game by game. So, we said, screw it. We're going game by game. We did game by game. I mean, this is a versatile show. I mean, we go back and forth. We do a little bit of everything. So it might change from day to day. Today, we're going position by position. Tomorrow, we might go game by game. So, yeah, yesterday we went game by game. And like I said, it seems like it's a very clear divide amongst the listeners in terms of their preferred format for the show.
I mean, Hoop brings up a great point, right? I mean, you never want to stay in the same position all the time, right? You want to mix it up. You want to get a little variety in life.
Yeah, again, LT, like you should have been here earlier, man, pumping that in the chat. That's on you. That's not on me. We're here doing the position by position, and we're keeping you on your toes here on a Friday. So we'll keep it going. We'll move on over to the first base position. And Hoop, we should talk about this a little bit. Here's some game by game stuff, right? The Nationals, right? We definitely want to target Lopez. And you got two first base options on the Nationals that you can go to. Josh Bell in the 4-hole or Ryan Zimmerman, both great options. Are you going to any of them, or are you going to some other options at first base today?
Yeah, so I mean, for like cash games, I mean, definitely Bell and Zimmerman at the top. I mean, specifically Zimmerman, just a bad price and a good matchup here. The Nationals are obviously projected to score probably 5.5 runs here tonight. And Zimmerman 2.4K. That is a bargain price tag. Makes it we talked about it when we were at pitcher. There's some cheap guys that make it easy to pay up at pitcher. Zimmerman's one of them, and one of the best offenses tonight, 2.4K. I do think, the difference in ownership between him and Josh Bell will be pretty substantial. So I think going to a guy like Josh Bell in tournaments, is a great pivot off of Zimmerman, who should be pretty highly owned here. G-Man Choi, 3.7, and a little bit of interest. Carlos Santana, maybe a little bit, but really for me, I'm going to be focused on those National guys. Ryan Zimmerman, in cash games, and I like the pivot to Josh Bell in tournaments.
All right, JT, I'm going to go to you. You can talk about your first baseman, but I got to address a chatter in the chat. His name is K Falik, however you want to call him. He goes, I stand by my suggestion. Pitchers, then stacks, then position by position. I'm here for the people. I don't see him on the show, JT, so I don't really think Mr. K Falik is here for the people.
I mean, he is. Look, he's very helpful, but sometimes he's a bit rigid, right? He likes his structure. And that's why we love him. So I'm not sure what he's arguing about right now, because I wasn't watching the chat. I was diligently trying to look and see if there were things that I was missing at first base so that I could give it to the people.
All right, we'll give it to us here. What do we got, JT? What are the first basemen we want to be playing here on this slate? Like, I talked about some cheaper options, right? You could pay all the way up, right? I mean, you could make an argument. Pete Alonso in the revenge spot against his former teammate, right? Steven Matz, right? So would you go to a Pete Alonso? Would you go to maybe a Vlad Guerrero? He can hit any righty in the world. So Miguel would definitely be one that I think he could hit.
Yeah, I think the Blue Jays are going to put up runs here against Tyler McGill. I just don't know if at their prices that park is going to allow them to get to where we need them to be on this huge slate. The Nationals are in a great spot against Jorge Lopez. Again, I talked about the Baltimore Orioles. I think they're in a good spot as well. I think a lot of people will look and say, all right, I want to play Trey Mancini, but Ryan Mountcastle is putting together quietly, because that's how everything happens in Baltimore with this team, a very, very good season. I think this is an opportunity here to roster Mountcastle at lower ownership at 3.8K. A couple of other guys here that I like as well. Who talked about G-Man Choi. And then in the Detroit game, obviously, Jonathan Scope. I mean, I don't know, outside of Franmil Reyes and Chris Taylor, maybe not a hotter hitter in the game right now than Jonathan Scope. First base and second base eligible at 4.9K. And then a guy who is top 5 in walk rate and top 5 in hard hit rate over the course of the past 7 days. Hasn't quite broken out with the big home run game yet. And that's because he is a pinch hit risk, but perhaps a little bit less of one with Max Muncy out. Matt Beatty, just 2.4 in the middle of this lineup against Chichi Gonzalez. And he's another one of these guys that Hoop was talking about, right? These 2 to 3K guys that you could fit as either one-offs or wherever, because Beatty's outfield eligible as well, that allow you to get that double stud pairing tonight.
All right, Hoop, I'm going to go over to you, but we got our boy Joey Work in the chat, right? He's talking to me. He wants to grab a beer with me at the Jersey Shore, but Hoop, I got to tell you this. You know who I might see this weekend? My boy Mikey, right? So you might get a nice picture of us finally uniting together. We talked about the early RPS days, right? The bunk beds, right? Hanging out. Me and Mikey, we might grab some food here this weekend.
Yeah, you got to keep us updated in Discord with pictures and captions and all that stuff. I mean, just name a better duo. I mean, Mangone and Mikey. I mean, 2 of the happiest guys there could be. I mean, just love to see it.
Yeah, Mikey told me he's got 2 jet skis, right? So I won't have to jump on one with him and ride the back, or him ride, the front, whichever one you want to go with. I get to ride my own jet ski, right? But how good would a picture be of me and Mikey on one jet ski together?
You only need one. We don't want you to ride 2. Just definitely get together and wrap your arms around his waist and make sure someone gets a picture for us.
Listen, I might have to do that for the chat. We'll have to see. It's not as good as Big T on a jet ski, though, right? That was tough to get, but we got that video finally done last year.
Yeah, the big T jet ski, that was a scary experience because, it's not that hard to, essentially dock a jet ski, especially like in shallow water. Big T got close to the shoreline and decided that was a good time to gun the throttle and went directly into the dock. No one was injured, thank God, but it was fun to watch. I will say that.
All right, well, let's move on over to the second base position. Hoop, I'll go right back to you for second base. Mr. Brandon Lau from yesterday, he's obviously in play. He gets Plesac here. Jose Altuve has been crushing it, and he gets a lefty. So he's another guy you can look at here. It's not my favorite position today. I think there's other better spend-up spots, but I wouldn't argue with those two guys who are at the top.
Yeah, if you got the money to go all the way up, Altuve is a great play. Whit Merrifield's even more expensive. I mean, he'll be pretty low owned, but I like his matchup against Peralta. Don't hate Cesar Hernandez. I like the Indians a little bit here. He's 4K. Brandon Lowe or Lau, whichever one it is, solid play at 4.4K. Definitely like him. Jonathan India at 4.5K. Like the Reds here tonight. If you want to save a little bit of money and get some exposure to the Nationals, which I like. I mean, Alcides Escobar, the upside's not massive with him, but I think he can get you 10, 12 fantasy points here tonight. So I don't hate him at he's 3.2K. I think that's a decent price tag for him. And then in tournaments, JT brought this guy up with Jonathan Scope. You can play him at second base as well, 4.9K. Tigers are hot right now, and the team total for them finally is starting to creep up because of their recent success. I think they're projected to score a little over 5 runs, which is higher than we typically get for Tigers bats. So a lot of different ways at second base to go. My favorite probably would be Brandon Lowe.
All right, JT, I'll go over to you. Talk about second base, but before you talk about second base, I want to ask you about our boy Draftkings, right? He does the podcast, 5 days a week, and you get one of those days, right? We got Steve Boynton on, we got Gary, we got Uncle T, right? We got a ton of people over there on the podcast. G Ryzen, what day are you on? And tell the people a little bit about what you guys discuss on that First Look MLB pod.
Yeah, he does a great job. The First Look, just a game-by-game analysis. And that is something that K. Falik would approve of because it's pitching and then straight game-by-game and maybe a couple of one-offs at position. So I know that K. Falik enjoys listening to it. But every day, I think every day during the week, so not on the weekends. But, mine is hit and miss because we're supposed to record that on Tuesday night for the Wednesday slate. And obviously the Wednesday slates are the ones where you've got sort of almost 2 slates, right? You got that 6-gamer during the day, maybe an 8-gamer or less at night because teams are traveling to their next city. So we don't always do it, but yeah, Tuesday nights for me, it's a great listen, a great resource for everyone on your way to work in the morning, on your way to school, wherever you're on your way to in the morning, just take a listen, gives you a fresh perspective about the slate before you have time to dig in and do a little bit more research.
Yeah, not only that, JT, it's free, right? It's free.
Absolutely.
Anywhere you want to go, podcast, YouTube, anything. Feel free to check it out. Make sure to subscribe over there on the Apple, Google Play. Get that First Look pod. But JT, talk about second base. Are you going to Mr. Brandon Lau or are you going somewhere else?
Yeah, I tend to agree on the Indians. I like the Indians a little bit here against Josh Fleming. I don't think there's maybe one guy that Hoop did mention that I have some mild interest in, and that's Jan Segura leading off. I know that, Max Fried has been pitching a little better of late, but I don't know. I don't love the spot for Max Fried here tonight. So don't mind Jan Segura leading off for the Phillies.
All right, we got Bob Johnson in the chat. You know what he said? He said, I'm looking for 3 hitters you think will hit a home run tonight. Well, Bob, we got to get the likes up, right? Once we hit 200, we'll give out our play of the day, and that'll be at the end of the show. So you got to stick around a little bit. You got to stick around. We'll go third base, shortstop, outfield. We'll talk stacks, and then we'll give out the plays of the day. So you got to wait for that, Bob, but get those likes up. Tell the people to slam that like button and subscribe to the channel. Hoop, I'll go over to you. We'll talk about the third base position. Are you going to some Justin Turner? He's obviously a guy that you can play. Eugenio Suarez against a lefty. That has not really been a thing as of late. He has definitely been struggling a ton for those Reds. But what are you doing here at the third base position here?
Yeah, third base is probably the toughest spot for me. I think it's probably the weakest position here overall. Some of the guys that I mean, Justin Turner, yeah, I mean, I like the Dodgers, but I mean, do you want to, lock in a premium spend on Justin Turner at 6K? Sure, you can, but I think I'd rather spend my money somewhere else. I doubt that I'll do that. Jose Ramirez is $800 cheaper at 5.2K. You don't really have to be worried about the ownership with him either. So I think I prefer Ramirez over Turner. Suarez at 4.3K, batting fifth. I like him quite a bit. Josh Harrison for the Nationals, batting sixth, but he's only 2.6K. So again, one of these guys that you can play and spend up at pitcher. And then one last guy in tournaments, Rafael Devers, 5.3K. Cole's been great, but his biggest weakness is giving up the home runs. I don't hate Devers as a one-off. Obviously, I'm not stacking against Cole or anything. One-off home run upside in this matchup against Cole. It's kind of where I'm at here at third base.
All right, JT, we'll go over to you. I kind of agree with Hoop, right? This is a day we are spending up more. And third base, it might not be the best spot to spend your salary, right? We got to allocate it. You don't spend money in bad places, right? If your dishwasher breaks, JT, you fix that, right? You don't spend a ton of money on a coffee, right? You got to make sure to allocate your salary in life correctly. So we got to allocate our salary here good at the third base position. I don't think you want to spend on Justin Turner, but he is someone you can spend on if you go cheap at pitcher.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great matchup, right? We talked about it's Chi Day. Talk about that it's a great matchup. I don't know that I love spending that on a guy like Justin Turner, though. So in that same game, the Washington Nationals game, who talked about Josh Harrison, Michael Franco returns from the injured list, or to be honest, wherever he's been. I think he's been on the IL. But if you're stacking up the Orioles or doing a mini stack of the Orioles, he fits nicely, 2.6K against the left-hander. That's when we like him quite a bit more. I agree with the Devers call. I like Rafael Devers here quite a bit tonight. And then go from there. I mean, I think, you've got Jose Ramirez, you've got the guys on the Rays I'm not all that interested in. And then moving down a little bit, Heimer Candelario, again, another guy in that Detroit lineup that I like a bit tonight. You do have Hunter Dozier at 3-1 with good power in the same game there. So I think that kind of does it for me at third base.
All right, well, let's move on over to the shortstop position where we'll talk about Trey Turner, right? I mean, we got to like some Nationals. I know you love playing some Nationals in this ballpark. We talked about maybe not allocating your salary to third base. Are we going to spend up here for a guy like Trey Turner, or are we going to go down? I know we liked Eduardo Rodriguez. He's fine, but hey, Gleyber Torres is getting a nice lineup bump nowadays in that Yankees lineup. Would you go to maybe a Gleyber Torres at 3-2, or you maybe spending up for like a Trey Turner, or even like a Carlos Correa against the lefty?
Yeah, I mean, I like, Erod. I think we all do. But Torres at 3-2, it's a good price tag, and he definitely has some upside. So I don't hate playing him, probably more of like a tournament play, but I'd be fine going to him as a salary saver at 3-2. Kind of sticking with the Indians theme, Ahmed Rosario's 3.8K. I mean, he's not a sexy play, nothing to get super excited about. I think he's in play. I mean, odds are I'm going to get up to Turner at 5.7K. I think we can do it tonight. We have enough cheap guys at other spots. Trey Turner in a phenomenal spot here, 5.7K. This is a spot where I'm willing, I think, to spend some money. A couple other cheaper guys. We talked about the Hap situation. I like Hap, but I'm still willing to play some Angels guys. Jose Iglesias, 3.4K, batting third. I'd be willing to play him. And then Ramon Urias for the Orioles, batting fifth, another punt play at 2.8K. I mean, Corbin has been all over the map this season with his production. Wouldn't be surprised if the Orioles find some success tonight. So that's kind of where I'm at shortstop-wise.
All right, good news, JT. We got to those likes, right? We're at 204, so when we get to the plays, we'll be able to give them out. But JT, they can't just stop at 204, right? I mean, we want to keep those things moving, right? That'd be very hurtful if they don't, JT.
Yeah, I mean, we cannot move the goalposts. We promised at 200 that we would give out the plays. So why don't you incentivize it? Why don't you say maybe if they get to, we've got 448, if they get to 250, maybe you do something nice for the people.
I mean, that's a Hoop question, right? I don't know. We have 9 dislikes, right? So we might have to, maybe those 9 bring down the number to below 200. We got to keep pushing those likes up. Hoop, I don't know. JT has given a proposition. Is there anything you could think of or want to do for maybe getting to a higher number?
We got gear. I mean, we got shirts, we got hats, whatever you need. We got kid shirts. So if you want your kid to have a RPS shirt, get to that number and we'll grab someone.
All right. Well, JT, if Chris Hansen shows up, I can give out some shirts, right? There might be some kids hanging around here, so we can pass out the RPS shirts to the people. What's the number, JT? Is it 250? Is it 275 for the shirt? What do you want to do here?
250, provided that you don't get arrested before the show ends.
Sounds good. Hopefully I don't. We should be okay. Just don't make a phone call or anything, JT. But let's move on over. Let's talk about the outfielders. And we got to talk about Juan Soto. We got to talk about Justin Upton against the lefty. I love myself some Justin Upton. He's treated me well in my day playing some fantasy sports. So, JT, I'm going to go over to you. What are you doing in the outfield? Are you spending up? You spending down? How many outfielders you're playing? Who do you like?
Yeah, I do like Upton as a one-off at 3-3. Again, like we said, JSURab can give up a couple of home runs. Quite honestly, he can give up 3 or 4 runs at that price and strike out a bunch of guys and still get you to 18, 20 fantasy points. So that's perfectly fine with me there. One guy at shortstop that I didn't get to mention, Zach Short for the Tigers. I don't know where they got this kid from. I got to dive into it a little bit more. But if you're stacking the Tigers, Zach Short, even though he's at the bottom of the order, is a guy that I would include. All he's been doing since he's come up is hit home runs. So I think it's a really good spot for him to be able to put one out tonight. Andrew McCutchen's been hitting the ball pretty well. He's at 3-6 in the middle of that lineup. Even though it's a lefty-lefty matchup, would not avoid Cedric Mullins in those Orioles stacks. You have seen time and time again where he'll lead off a game with a home run and seems to hit lefties almost as well as he does right-handed batters. Austin Hayes, way too cheap, 2.8 in this matchup in the 2-hole. Moved down a little bit here. You've got, some of these guys. I don't want to play heavily on the Reds, but I think you can certainly target Jesse Winker even in a lefty-lefty matchup. No, he hasn't been quite as good as he was earlier in the season, but still like that matchup a bit. Franmil Reyes is a guy who is just on fire right now. And particularly with this matchup, I don't think much of Josh Fleming's where he is right now. Maybe in the future he'll be a really good major league pitcher. Obviously, the Rays think he's better than Rich Hill, who they offloaded today as they get ready to make a playoff run. But I like Franmil a bit here today. I don't mind Max Kepler leading off here. I always like Kepler a bit more when he's leading off. And if I wanted to use a one-off, I don't mind targeting Alex Cobb with the lefty in Max Kepler as well. And then Robbie Grossman leading off here. Talked about how Eric Haas is outfield eligible. Andrew Benintendi's a guy that draws my eye at just 4.1, batting in the cleanup spot. And then I mentioned Matt Beatty for the Dodgers. I do think that one of these games he's going to get 3 or 4 at-bats. The way he's hitting the ball, the way he's seeing the ball, he's going to break out. And he's one of the Dodgers. I would play him. I would certainly play him over Cody Bellinger tonight.
All right, JT, we had our boy Pensack apparently. I don't know if he said this in the Discord, but they said Ryan Mountcastle was one of his plays of the day. What do you think of, I know you like Taves, what do you think of Ryan Mountcastle as a play? I think he's a pretty good one today.
I love him in this spot. Been talking about him all day long. Talked about him in the Bang Bang Play video. And he's just putting together a great season. It's the Orioles, for those that follow the baseball side, the organizational side, the Orioles have a lot of the guys in their management now that came over from the Houston Astros when they developed guys like Altuve, Correa, etc., and went through basically the same philosophy. We don't care how many games we lose because we want to get all these draft picks. They have a particular type of player that they look for, and these guys are starting to put together some really, really good performances. The talent's starting to come, and I think it's only a couple of years before we're going to see these Orioles be a force again in the American League East. So like Ryan Mountcastle, like this team quite a bit in the second half. They're not going to contend, but they're going to play hard, and I think they're going to put up a bunch of runs and perhaps play spoiler in a division that's going to be really interesting to watch here.
All right, Hoop, we got Chris Collins in the chat. He said, just became a member yesterday. Would love a shirt. Give a little RPS West Coast representation. So, that's my favorite comment right now. It's the guy I want to give it to if we can, but we'll see if we can get some better comments or if we can get those likes up to 250. We got to get that going there. But Hoop, what do you want to do here in the outfield? Are you spending up? You spending down? How are you allocating your dollars here?
Yeah, certainly the leader in the clubhouse. Welcome to the RPS family. We are very confident that we'll help you with your DFS and sports betting needs. So yeah, we'd love to get you some gear. It's up to Mangone though. I mean, you gotta if he thinks that's the best comment, you're gonna win. If not, we'll see. But at outfield, I agree. Like Justin Upton at 3-3, strong play. Washington guys, Soto 5-6, even Para, a full punt 2K. Like him. I do like the Orioles, Austin Hayes batting second, 2.8K. Robbie Grossman, 3.7K. Aquino for the Reds, 2.7K. He has some upside. A lot of different ways to go in the outfield. Obviously, Max Kepler, 3.9K. Benintendi, 4.1K. You can do a lot. I do think this is a good spot to save some salary, though. We have a lot of cheap, reasonably priced guys. If you're going to, double spend up at pitcher, this is a spot that can make it easy on you. We have cheap guys in really good spots. So a lot of different plays here, kind of leaning going the cheaper route, though.
All right, let's move on over to the stacks. Again, use that code RPSHeater25 to get 25% off your first payment. Chris Collins just signed up. He became a member. He's going to get access to all the content this weekend, right? And we'll have some Olympic stuff too, Hoop, right? I think we're going to get some Olympic content in there for you guys. So as that kind of files in, we'll make sure to get that up for you guys. Again, RPSHeater25. Get you 25% off, no Olympic package, right, Hoop? I'll give you one more chance to say that. We're not going to have a package for the Olympics, right? It's just included in our, Run Pure Sports content.
Yeah, as we always say, one price for everything. Even when we bring on new sports, if the Olympics, has solid DFS contest, which I think we'll see, we're going to have content for that, and you will not be needing to pay any additional money. Go to these other sites. I have a feeling that they're going to charge you probably a special amount just for Olympic content. We're not going to do that here. It's going to be the same price, and that's kind of how we differentiate ourselves from the rest of the industry.
All right, JT, I'm going to go over to you. What do we got here? Give me the stacks of the day. Give me the ones that you're looking at. Maybe if you get like a contrarian one, right? I know it's a big slate, but maybe you can get a contrarian one for the people as well.
Yeah, at least two that I think are contrarian. I start with our Baltimore against Corbin and the Detroit Tigers against Chris Bubik. I don't think on a 14-game slate that a lot of people are going to click those team names. I think that they're going to go under the radar because some of these other offenses are in really good spots as well. I just like the spot here, given the bullpens for these two teams. And then moving on from there, obviously the Nationals, Jorge Lopez has been sort of able to do that high wire dance for much of the season, not get lit up. He's a frustrating guy to watch because he seems to have all the tools to be a really good major league pitcher. He just can never harness his control for more than a couple of innings at a time. So we know that there's not much in that Baltimore Orioles bullpen that's at a major league level. So it's definitely a fantastic spot for the Washington Nationals. We move down looking at a couple of other spots, and I do like the Indians a bit as a contrarian spot here. Yes, Tampa's got a great bullpen, but Diego Castillo did pitch yesterday, and I think they're in a position where they're going to let Fleming throw a little bit. So, they won't let him get beat up too bad, but I do think there's some pieces of this Cleveland lineup that stand out to me as pretty interesting. Obviously, the Astros against Colby Allard. I like the Tiger, like I said, Tigers side much more than the Royals side. Doesn't mean I want to pitch Willie Peralta on this slate. Doesn't mean he can't have 10 or 12 points. I just don't think that's going to be nearly enough here. And then, maybe some mini stacks of the Dodgers, and that'll probably do it for me.
All right, Hoop, I'll go over to you. Give me some of the stacks you're looking at here on this slate.
Yeah, I mean, outside of the more obvious ones, I mean, we all like the Nationals, definitely on the Nationals, on the Reds, but some of the more off the radar a little bit. I'm on the Indians. I like the Indians in the spot. I think their offense will get going here at some point. So the Indians are interesting to me, and then the Tigers. I mean, they're winning ball games right now, and they're playing as good as they have all season long. Still don't think we need to be really worried about ownership either. So I really like the Tigers, and then the last team that really no one's talking about at all would be the Astros, and they have a solid offense, obviously. So give me the Astros as well here.
Yeah, and we haven't talked about Jordan against the lefty, right? He can crush lefties, right, JT? He's definitely someone that people think he's really good, lefty, righty, that's the better spot. But against lefties, you got the numbers here on Jordan, JT, to tell the people that he's a good play.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the numbers at my fingertips, but I will tell you that Jordan doesn't seem to care about the splits. And the good thing with the Astros organization, they do things a little bit differently. They're not like the Rays and the Dodgers and even the Giants, where they're so concerned that the minute you get the same-handed pitcher in the game, someone is coming off the bench, right? Jordan's going to get his 5 at-bats. He does just as much damage against left-handed pitching, and I'm absolutely not concerned with a matchup against Colby Allard, who, again, just like Josh Fleming, maybe in a few years he will be a good major league pitcher, but he's just not there yet.
All right, some of the stacks I like. I think that Reds-Cardinals game, I don't know what to do with it yet, but I think it's a good game to target. I like the Nationals and Baltimore game a ton. And then I'd say that the Dodgers are another team I'm going to look at against Chi more. And then the Angels, right? JSURab, right? I can definitely target him. And I have to narrow that pool down, obviously. But we'll go on over to the plays of the day. Let's go with Hoop first. Who is the guy? I mean, last time I was on a show with you hit that Rhys Hoskins one, and that was pretty good. Who is the guy here? Are you going back to Rhys against the lefty? We didn't talk about him too much, but who is your play of the day?
I'm going to the Cleveland Indians, and I'm going with the guy that is batting fourth for them, hit the bomb last night, Franmil Reyes. Didn't mention him in the outfield intentionally, wanted to save him for the play of the day. Feel so good about him hitting a bomb tonight. He's 4.1K on DraftKings, great price tag. Like the Indians, Reyes is my guy tonight.
All right, again, use that code RPSHeater25 to get 25% off and check out Uncle T's playbook. It's fully up, right? And JT, you talked about at the start of the show, like Uncle T's the man. He gives a killer playbook out, and his core plays will be on there too. So are you excited to go in and look at that playbook here shortly, JT?
I can't wait. I always, when Uncle T does the playbook, I go in, and even if I'm not on the stacks that he lists, which is honestly, it's very rare, I go in and I say, these are stacks that I have to play. He just does a great job, brings it every single day. And yeah, I'm definitely checking out that playbook. Want to see in particular what his thoughts are at pitcher. So I'm going to read up the strategy section as well. Looking forward to that.
And Uncle T, if you're still watching, which you should be, right? You say, let's win some money tonight. Don't leave yet. I have a request. And I think Hoop will love this request. On your core plays, I want you to put whoever the mustache ride play of the day is. Just put MRPOD. And then the people will know who Uncle T's play of the day is. Hoop. They got to do that, right?
Great idea. Great abbreviation. We have to know, especially since it went it's 1 for 1. I mean, the Will Smith call last night. We got to keep the heater going. The people need the mustache ride play of the day. Uncle T, please denote that on the playbook.
And put that thing in red, right? Because you're red hot, Uncle T. We need another one. So it could be Will Smith again, right? So put that in there, the FRPOD. Put it in red so the people know Uncle T. Before Chris Hansen shows up, JT, I'm going to get my play of the day, and then we'll hop on the jet so he doesn't catch us, and we'll hit the Eiffel Tower, right? So I like the Orioles a bit. I like attacking Patrick Corbin. I don't like third base today. And you know who's treated me pretty well, and he's really cheap? Maikel Franco. He can hit lefties pretty well. So JT, we're going off the board with a really low-owned play. Maikel Franco is my play of the day. Now let's get on that jet. Let's go check out the Eiffel Tower with JT Hayes. Give me your play of the day.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick to what I've been talking about for it feels like 24 hours since the first time I started talking about this slate. And I love that graphic, by the way. The Run Pure mustache ride play of the day. Oh, beautiful. Let's go with Eric Haas. This is a guy who just, kind of came out of nowhere for me. He wasn't really on my radar before this season. It seems like the Tigers are just developing catcher after catcher that, I wish Grayson Griner could stay healthy, but he obviously has had difficulty doing that. You got Uncle T's doppelganger, Jake Rogers, but Eric Haas has been the main guy there. He was first base eligible for a while. I think he's maybe outfield eligible now, so you don't even have to use him in that catcher spot, but hitting in the middle of that Tiger order that I think is going to put up a ton of runs tonight. Eric Haas is going to hit a bomb tonight, no doubt.
All right, and I'm trying to catch this graphic, JT. I missed it, but I caught it for a little second, and then I got to the wrong spot. But this graphic looks good. I'm going to have to check it out at the end of the show, which we are already here, right? Again, hit that like, hit that subscribe out the door. We got coming up next, we got the final countdown show. You got JSU, you got Holden, you got DC talking the sticky stuff. They'll be bringing you the winners. Use that code RPS here 25 to get 25% off. Get in that Discord, go to the media alerts to find out how to get in, or go over to the live stream section over on the show. JT, before we get on out of here, give us your final thoughts here on a Friday.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about this slate is there's like probably 10 or 12 offenses that you could look at and say, all right, reasonably, they could score a bunch of runs. I think we've done a good job breaking it down. What I will leave you with is this. If you're multi-entering tonight, you have to at least make 3 to 5 lineups where you have Orioles, Tigers, double spend up, and a high-priced one-off.
I like that a ton. We need 23 more likes. I'm going to give us a second to get there, to give out the shirt. We'll see if we can get it there. Hoop, give me your final thoughts on the slate.
Yeah, I do agree. I like that Orioles call a lot, and the total in that game has come up as well. It's up to, what is it, 10.5. So, I mean, it's a big boy total. Obviously, a lot of people will be on the Nationals, or Nationals will have more ownership than the Orioles, but I think Orioles are, a phenomenal play. The more we go through the slate, I just feel better about, spending up at pitcher. I don't think you really need to risk it today. We have a lot of cheap guys to play in good offense. It's not like you're just punting to punt. Like, there's guys in good spots that are cheap that you can play. So I'm going to be spending up. I don't really see myself going all that too low. I mean, Rodriguez probably the cheapest. I'm going to go tonight at 8.3K. We talked about Hap. You can still keep him in the player pool if you're MMEing. Like, I'm not full MMEing tonight. If you're full MMEing, you can spread it a little bit thinner. But 4, 5, 6 teams, like, I don't think you need to risk it at pitcher today. We just have so many cheap bats in good spots. All
right. Before we get on here, JT, I have one request, right? I'm covering your show on Sunday for you because you're taking a trip, in the car to Florida, right? You're leaving me with 2 guys that smoke so much. I'm going to get some residual. Hoop knows about that with G-Rise, and I'm going to be feeling it from here, probably in New Jersey. So you got to give a play of the day, and I will say it on the show on Sunday. The people will want it, right? So my one request, JT, I'm going to tell you now, you got to give a play of the day. So we'll have 4 opportunities for home runs. Can you do that for me on Sunday while you're driving? Give me a quick text during the show.
Yeah, I said, well, so first of all, let's clarify, right? And one of the guys in chat, I was talking about this woman the other day, and one of the guys in chat said, oh my God, you're married. And I said, wait a minute, what? And he's like, oh, you just don't I said, I talk all the time. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. This is in a good way. So I am going to be in the car. I am not going to be driving, Mango. Sweet Travis. My wife is going to be driving while I sit on the laptop and do research so I can play daily fantasy sports while her parents are in the back. It's beautiful. It's like, hey, you've got to not do the show. I'll drive. You could do your research and sit there. You can take a nap, what have you. So I am more than thrilled, excited even, to be a part of the Sunday show, even though I can't be there on video, and give you a play of the day. No problem.
I'm excited to hear that. It should be fun. We'll have you there. And you're just pulling the big T. You're not on the phone. You're just like, I'm setting up shop right now in the car. Parents in the car as well. Should be a good time. We'll give you some shout outs as well during that show. But we got to get on out of here. We got the final countdown show coming up on the premium side. That'll wrap it up for us. We did not get enough there to give away that
shirt away. Give the shirt away. You can't do that. Give the shirt away. Give the shirt.
I'll say this. Hoop, we're going to give it to Chris Collins, right? I mean, he's the guy, new sub. He's on the West Coast. He wants to represent us. That's who I want to give the shirt to. So, Chris, hit up info at Run Pure Sports, right, Hoop, or hit us up on Twitter with the DM.
Yeah, either way, info at Run Pure Sports. Your address and shirt size, we'll get something mailed out. Maybe
for your social. Don't worry about it. You trust us.
And Chris, you're new here. We like to say Big T is running right now to FedEx to send that thing over. It might take a little while, right? We like this. Yeah. The running joke is Big T's on his way to FedEx. He's not on his way to FedEx, but he is on his way to FedEx. But
you'll see it by Christmas. Just promise not to regift it.
Correct. Do not regift it. That'll wrap it up for us, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me. For me, Mangone, JT, and Hoop. See you guys later.